Before we go any further, why don't you tell me about that curse of yours? The Haunting Clappers, was it? That's one of the 7 Mysteries of Honjo, if I remember correctly. That's right. The original story did happen somewhere near here, I think. I'm sure I remember hearing that. In that case, my money would be on all the curse bearers being somewhere in Honjo. Our first move should be to narrow them down. Some of them are bound to try and come for you first. We'll need to be ready. The curses make their bearers more willing to kill, so an attack could come from anywhere. That sounds sensible. And if I remember correctly, your haunting clappers can set people on fire, but only if they have a naked flame or a lighter on their person. Is that right? That's right. In olden times, wooden clappers were used to warn people of fire. I'm guessing it punishes those who don't heed the warning. Seems like a good curse to have. It's simple and straightforward enough to use. Although it's hard to say how it stacks up without knowing what else is on the table. You really think it's that good? The target can't do much to throw it off. And it has a nice long activation window. It's big that it works on lighters too. Just slip one into your target's pocket. And say that condition were already fulfilled, before they would even know you're there, they wouldn't even know what hit them. Maybe I won't have to actually use it. I could just tell them I could. I could just tell someone I could, and they'd have to do what I said. Threats could work, although without proof it'll come down to how convincing you can be. If only you could use the curse, then back out at the last second. At the last second? Interesting idea. I have a lighter right here. We could try it right now. That's an interesting proposition. But maybe not. I'm not quite crazy enough to make myself a guinea pig. Oh, I see. You're not one, ma'am, if you don't mind me saying, and I don't think it's just a curse. You flatterer. Yeah, so flattering. Oops. As for what we do next, first of all I think we should stay indoors. Try not to do anything spontaneous or outside of your normal routine. Right then, have you decided what you want me working on? Help me with the right, investigate the kidnapping. Kidnapping. No, help. Help with the right. Bringing my son back is more important. I want you to help me with the Rite of Resurrection. Roger that, the right it is. Odds are good that the other curse bearers are also working by night. Anyone they kill under the cover of darkness won't be discovered until sunrise. I bet they'll be trying to do as much as I can before morning comes. So it's settled then. I'll look into the other curse bearers by night. And once the city wakes up and I can start asking questions, I'll investigate the kidnapping as well. I'll even try and find Miss Shiraichi as part of the bargain. Thank you, that's more than enough. Now then. I should get to work. There's only so much time before sunrise. I'll call you if I find out anything new. You stay here and keep a lookout. Alright. There's no telling what kinds of curses you might find out on the streets tonight. Don't go outside if you can help it, and try to be ready for anything. I will. Well, if that's all, I should be going. Ah, there we go. Heyo! A nice thought. Despite having obtained the curse of the Haunting Clappers, Haru Shigima is determined to use the Rite of Resurrection by stealing the remaining curse stones. She instructs her private investigator Richter to find the other curse bearers. 1 AM. I thought you said don't go outside, so we're just instantly disregarding that. Ikima Mansion, reception room. It's been almost an hour since Richter left. He promised he'd call me if anything happened. But he hasn't. So all I can do is wait, and wait, and think, and wait, and think, and wait. Ooh. What's this? A newspaper? Must have fallen off the chair. Read it. It's a newspaper. I only leave them in here for the guests. I hardly ever read them myself. I don't think I've taken the time to go over one in years, in fact. Well, it's not like I have anything better to do. Look at the Society's article. It looks like the city's biggest problem right now is pollution. I remember how the air and water used to be even more polluted. The river was covered in scum from all the sewage and industrial waste, and it stank so badly it'd make my eyes water. Eventually people started getting sick, and it couldn't be ignored anymore. Fortunately, it's gotten better since then. Although the air around the industrial district is still filthy with gas and smog. I can look at all of them. Nice. This is one thing Honjo never wants for, its horrific crimes. They found a police officer dead in a local park just the other day. A lot of my family are in the police. I hope it wasn't anybody I knew. I don't read the news anymore. Not since last year. It brings back bad memories. But of course. Suicide at local high school. I remember that. A high school girl jumped off a roof about a week ago. She was bullied, I think, or maybe it was something about exam pressure. What? What? No, this can't be right. Oh god, it's going to be the girl that, kidnapped Shuichi, innit? Her name. Yep. Michio Shiraishi, from Kamagata High School. It can't be. Well, shoot. Oh, the music. Look at the economy articles. All sorts of articles about the current state of the economy. Now that the post-war boom has passed its peak, we're moving into the era of large corporations. It's about 220 to 230 yen to the dollar. Manufacturing is on the rise and exports are healthy. The dollar's down from its height and people are saying it could fall further. There's no denying how much the standard of living has improved in the past few years. It's common to own a car and television now, and supermarkets are better stocked than ever. Although with everyone flocking to the city, land prices are skyrocketing. Nowadays, most people can only dream of home ownership. The city centre is going to be nothing but apartments before long. Not exactly a businesswoman, so this all feels like another world to me. Now that everyone has more spending money to go around, people are coming up with all kinds of new diversions. It seems like only yesterday that people were flocking to the arcades to shoot aliens. But now we have those enormous theme parks and gaming machines that plug straight into your televisions. Everyone's talking about superhero series, foreign films and movies based on the latest bestseller. Back in my day, fusion rock and folk music was all the rage. But now it's all about city pop and idols. I find it hard to care about that sort of thing anymore. Culture! I hear the new big thing is some mascot line of delinquent birds. Mockingbirds, I think it's called. Is that what Richter was talking about? Trains seem to have gotten... trains seem to have such short shelf lives now, with how quickly the times are changing. I think I'm just too old to keep up anymore. These young people who are leading the way, with their modern worldviews, my generation will only fall further behind. Everyone attends high school now, even girls. Universal education policy, they call it. The country's gotten rich enough that every child can go to school. Education is the backbone of modern society. If you want to work for a good company, you have to get into a good university. With more people in the running than ever, the competition to get into those universities has gotten fierce, though. The new generation is rebelling. Schoolyard violence and delinquency are on the rise. But my boy was too sensible to get mixed up in any of that. I don't want to read anymore, and only remind me of him. I don't really watch much television. It feels as if all the information in the world gets passed through that little black box. Well, Father stopped them from reporting on the kidnapping back when it happened. I was glad about that, less fuss. I don't want to do that. Not that I ever learned how to make it. Now the comedy boom is over, all the comedians are flocking to other genres. The occult seems really popular at the moment. Look at all these paranormal specials. There we go. The phone! I'm waiting for Richter to contact me, but he hasn't. I made sure the receiver is on the hook. It'll ring as soon as he calls. Hey! That must be him. Answer. Hello, Shigema residence. Did he find one? Aha, I guess so. Kamagata Bridge. There he is. Richter called me out to meet him and here we are. Oh, and we came here, to Kamagata Bridge. Richter, there's something I need to tell you. Funny, I was just thinking the same thing. Okay. The Sumida River. The water is filthy and horrid, but at night, when it's still, it looks almost peaceful. Can I ask you something, ma'am? Is the Sumida River what you Honjo folk picture when you think of home? Couldn't say. All I can tell you is that I can hardly stand the sight of it. Right, should have guessed. This is where they found him, after he went missing. All alone floating in that horrible water. All I can think is how scared he must have been, how cold he must have been. What did he ever do to deserve something so awful? I've come here every day since then. And I prayed to the river to give him back. Give back my son. Day after day after day. You know, in olden times, people believe rivers marked where our worlds met the next. So the act of crossing flowing water had a huge amount of spiritual significance. Back when Edo was founded, the people of Chuo saw the Sumida River the same way. They associated the far side of the river with the afterlife. The same place would later become Honjo. All their fears and revulsion accumulated there and took root. But then the Ryogoku Bridge sprang up after the Great Fire of Maireki, and just like that, Honjo was part of the city too. And as it turned from farmland into a town, the people surrounded it, and men made rivers and crisscrossed it with canals and waterways. Weren't those to prevent flooding? That's what I was told. They were, but that's not all they were for. Their other purpose was to contain all the corruption that had built up on the far shore, and stop it leaking through to our side of the Great Divide. Officially, they were a physical barrier, but unofficially they were a spiritual one too. So if I have this right, are you saying that Honjo is a place where the real world meets the afterlife? Exactly. That's why the Rite of Resurrection is here, rather than anywhere else, I'm sure of it. And it's probably why the Seven Mysteries and their curses have survived to the modern day. And I guess that would make this spot we're standing now right over the water, the border between life and death. If there ever was a place where bringing back the dead might be possible, I reckon it's here. It's funny that you mentioned praying to the river. That might have done more than you think. Is that supposed to make me feel better? Just thinking out loud, ma'am. Well, it's a nice thought. The Sumida River. A Class A river that is part of the Arakawa River system, which runs through much of eastern Tokyo and empties into Tokyo Bay. During the Edo period, Sumida's riverbanks played a key role in the transportation of lumber used for construction. In addition to its logistical importance, it was also a place for the common folk to gather and enjoy activities such as seasonal flower viewing or river bathing. And there exist many woodblock prints depicting such activities. The area became plagued with sewage issues when the surrounding environs were industrialized in the post-war period, but the situation has improved since. Many unique bridges span the Sumida River, including the Ryogoku and Azumabashi bridges, which attract a large number of visitors as sightseeing spots. Massive fireworks displays in the summer are also sure to draw a crowd. The river has served as a cornerstone for both the city and its people, having both aided in its development and serving as an aspiring backdrop for countless works of art and literature. Phew! Alright. Cool. We're on the Komagata Bridge, over the Sumida River. There's a highway on one side and a freeway on the other, but they're both deserted at this late at night. Komagata Bridge. One of the bridges spanning the Sumida River, completed in 1927 as part of the reconstruction effort following the Great Kanto earthquake. It is notable both for its distinctive blue arches and the cutting edge, at the time, techniques used in its construction. There are many bridges stretching across the Sumida River, each boasting a unique structural form and design. I can look at the Sumida River again. Oh, that's right. There's one more memory I have of this river. Do you mind if I tell you? Go ahead. It must have been about 20 years now, when I was still a schoolgirl. Back then, the Sumida River was much filthier than it is now. It was full of garbage and industrial discharge. It was scummy and slimy and it stank. You could look out over the water and see dead cats and dogs and pigeons just floating. And one day, among all the filth and garbage, there was a piece of my missing classmate's hand. What? It was almost a miracle when you stop to think about it. What were the chances that someone would find a part of her that was still recognizable? And that although everything but the palm had rotted away in the water, the part that was left would have an identifiable scar. And that they could tell it had been a murder from the blade marks on the bone. Wait, are you talking about the Nejima murders? So you have heard of it? I'm impressed. I assume you were but an elementary schooler at the time. I wasn't really aware of it then, I'd only heard about it after the fact. I had no idea the victim was a classmate of yours. The Nejima murders, a notorious case from over 2 decades ago involving the murder of a female high school student. It first came to the attention of the authorities when part of a human left hand was discovered floating in the Sumida River. Testing revealed it to belong to a missing female high school student. As it appeared to have been severed deliberately, the police launched a murder investigation. A large-scale search of the river was organised, but the highly polluted state of the water made this impossible. Visibility was poor, the stench was intense, and the divers quickly fell ill. They succeeded in recovering only the victim's head and what appeared to be a part of her leg before the search was called off. At the time of the incident, the Sumida River was as polluted as it had ever been. Neither fish nor shellfish could survive in it, eventually causing the annual fireworks festival to be called off indefinitely. Over the course of the search, the police discovered a number of unidentifiable human bones. This caused a stir among the public, as several other young women had gone missing in recent years in the Tokyo area, and it was feared that they have fallen victim to the same fate. Forensic technologies at the time, however, were not advanced enough to determine the identities of the deceased, and so the police were unable to open any inquiries. Due to the overwhelming lack of circumstantial evidence, the investigation ground to a halt until a hitherto unrelated individual came to its attention. During a questioning about a separate incident, Fumichika Nejima, a 36-year-old shop owner with no relation to the victim, divulged details about her that had never been released to the general public. An investigation into his background was conducted, leading to his arrest. Nejima testified that he had snatched his victim from the street and confined her in the underground storeroom of his shop, which also served as his living quarters. He chose her for no special reason, but simply decided she was an opportune target on seeing her walking alone at night. After keeping her locked up for several days, he restrained her, sewed her mouth shut, severed her fingers and toes with a box cutter while she was still conscious. As she screamed silently behind her sealed lips, he proceeded to her wrists, her ankles, her elbows, her knees, working his way inwards slowly and methodically. His victim constantly wavered in and out of consciousness. Her ordeal continued until she died of blood loss. Nejima dismembered the rest of her body and disposed of it behind his home in the Sumida River before cleaning his storeroom and returning to his everyday routine as if nothing had happened. The brutality of his actions shocked the nation when they were eventually reported. Once apprehended, Nejima readily divulged the details of the murder, but was less willing to explain his motive. When asked, he would only break down in tears, saying, "I don't know what came over me, I know it was wrong." In the end, the police could extract nothing more from him than expressions of remorse. Although the efficiency of his methods strongly suggests that he had committed several similar crimes in the past, no corroborating evidence ever came to light. Nejima was sentenced to life in prison. At his first hearing, the sentence was imposed with no appeal from the defendant. Jesus. Bit messed up. Oh god. The man who made headlines over 2 decades ago as the perpetrator of the brutal killings known as the Nejima murders. To be honest, it was all a bit of a blur. A wave of chaos just parting around me. Something like that. They said the rest of her body must have sunk to the bottom of the river. They combed the riverbed, but they only ever found pieces. Everything else must have rotted and flowed out to sea. Afterwards, I heard all of the divers who had been looking for her fell ill. Sorry for everyone involved, huh? It's funny. Everyone figures the river's filthy already, so one more piece of garbage won't hurt. But every little bit makes it worse. It's a vicious cycle. And I wouldn't want to go rooting around down there myself. That's right, which is why the riverbed is the last place anybody would go looking. Or so was the killer's thinking, I suppose. The times were changing quickly back then. Things were confusing, everyone seemed to be in a hurry. Young people were moving to Tokyo in droves. Some even ran away from home to make it in the big city. And they made easy targets for bad people. A lot of them ended up disappearing without a trace. You see, back then, if you chopped a body up into tiny pieces and threw it in the river, it'd rot, quickly and discreetly, and sink to the bottom, never to be seen again. Are you saying what I think you're saying? They arrested him shortly after. Fumichika Nejima, the man who killed my classmate and cut her into pieces. He was so methodical about it, it couldn't have been his first crime. People began to wonder how many other girls he'd murdered the same way. The police never found any evidence of other murders in the end, but the river knows the truth. How many corpses has it swallowed over the years, I wonder? That same thought spread through everyone's mind, and they started to avoid this area. So really, this river has been rank with corruption for decades now. Or at least that's how it seems to me. Well, was that interesting? Well, I can see why you don't have any good memories of this river. With all that darkness lurking beneath the surface, there's no reason that you would. Still, if I may, ma'am, I'm surprised you know so much about the Nejima murders. How could I not? After all, I was the one who found the hand. Oh, the police actually wrote me a thank you letter. They said it was only thanks to me that they managed to bring Nejima to justice. That was the only time my father ever said he was proud of me. Huh, I guess it just wasn't the killer's day. Sometimes I wonder if he resents me for it. Who cares? The Sumida River. Nothing but awful memories of it. There we go. He's gazing down at the water. You go first. I'll go first. You go first. Please, go ahead. Alright then. I've been poking around places connected to the Seven Mysteries looking for curse bearers, and I think I found a few candidates. Ah! First, a tall man I ran into in Kinshibori Park. I asked him for directions, trying to probe him a little, but he turned the questions right back around on me. And he was out of there the second he figured I wasn't what he was looking for. I got the sense curses were nothing new to him. I'm about 40% sure he's a curse bearer. Oh, I don't know who that is. Then there's this middle-aged guy I saw on South Warigesui Street. There's no question about this one, he had one of the curse stones in his hand. He had a nervous air about him too. It was clear he was up to some shady business. He might be the one that has the darkness. Gathering soul dregs, I bet. He'd make a good target. Next up is a pair. A young man and woman I saw on Ryogoku Bridge. This time, the man came up to me and asked me flat out if I was a curse bearer. I told him I didn't know what he was talking about, and he backpedaled and left. Looks like they look around there often. Looking for kindred spirits would be my guess. Though it didn't seem like they were quite working as a pair. Gathering soul dregs in a group might be a decent idea if you can make it work. But with things being how they are, it's gotta be hard to find folks one can trust. They've got breasts though. I don't know what their deal is, but I'd like to find out. Last is two detectives I've seen sniffing around. The police are involved? Not necessarily. A body turned up in a local park a few days ago, so they might just be looking into that. Still, the park's got ties. Oh yeah, it won't be, No, it still could be. Shogo. The body they found, I'm wondering if it is Shogo, because he would have died at 6 AM. Oh no, he would have died around the same time that, Yoko did. Still, the park's got ties to one of the Seven Mysteries. Might be it was a curse that did the guy in. And if they're sending in detectives from the head office, then something's got to be up. How do you know where they're from? Let's just say that when you're in the business, or in this business, there are some faces you get to know. Anyway, that's everyone who's caught my eye. You found all of them in so little time? I really did hire the best. It's all in the name, ma'am. Rick Takai, P.I. No wait, make that Rick Takai Investigator Extraordinaire. My, an Investigator Extraordinaire? Is that why you can dress like that without drawing attention to yourself? You bet, an Investigator Extraordinaire can blend in like a chameleon in any outfit. All that aside, the middle-aged man and the young couple sound the most promising, am I right? Whichever we pick, it's still too early to make a move. It seems like the curse bearers are less involved with each other than we thought. Plus, there's still others we don't know about. I say we hang fire and see how things play out. Once more bodies start showing up, that'll get the pot nice and hot. And once it's boiling, our chance will come. Oh, it's my turn. My turn now. There's something I need to tell you. What's up? Well, that girl, Michio Shiraishi. The one who was with Shuichi on the day of the kidnapping. That's her. Well, she's dead. She's what? The student who committed suicide last week. That was her. I heard something like that had happened. Never got the name though. Talk about bad luck. We finally get a lead only to find out it turned into a literal dead end. Unless her death was the whole reason Janucci was so shaken up. He said he was going to curse him. He said she was going to curse him. Was he talking about her taking revenge from beyond the grave? Seems like we're back where we started. Not necessarily. That teacher knows something, I'm sure of it. At the very least, I'd put money on him having something to do with Miss Shiraishi's death. That's why he's so scared of being cursed by her. I see. And also, something tells me he knows more about your son's kidnapping. In any case, I think I've got a good idea of what he's hiding. Call it a hunch. A hunch? Well, more of a theory. Care to take a guess? I can guess. Maybe. I can't say for certain, but... Mr. Janucci silenced her with murder, a curse, no, blackmail? He was a teacher. What if Mr. Janucci silenced Michio Shiraishi with blackmail? What do you think? Exactly my thinking. Janucci knew about Miss Shiraishi's connection to the kidnapping, and he used that to blackmail her into doing his bidding. He made her feel so trapped she took her own life to escape. That's my read on it. How despicable. Well, it's just a theory. Right now, I think we need to have another chat with Mr. Janucci. Something wrong? Not really, it just struck me it's been 20 years since the Nejima murders. Oh, it has. Not to speak or anything, but I thought you might be interested in knowing. Life in prison doesn't always mean life. And there's a precedent for first-time offenders being allowed out on parole after 20 years. Oh. Only if they're found to show remorse and desire to reform themselves, of course. That's right, I'm impressed you know so much. Still, it's hard for someone with a criminal record to reintegrate into society. I heard they've been trying to fix that recently, matching inmates with jobs and accommodation. Oh, really? They keep an eye on them, of course, and make them report in for regular checkups. But to avoid discrimination, they keep the inmates' records a secret from everyone but their employers. They even give particularly notorious criminals new identities so they won't be recognised in the workplace. My. Where you put it. So you're saying Fumichika Nejima could be out on parole right now? Back in society under a new name with nobody any the wiser. It's possible. As it happens, a little birdie told me about a big name making parole a few months back. I don't know if it was Nejima, but our discussion just now did bring it to mind. I see. How unsettling. Now that you mention it, I just remembered something too. What was it? I was passing Komagata High School a little while ago when I saw someone. A janitor, I think. And I could have sworn he reminded me of Fumichika Nejima. Oh? Oh, that's the middle-aged man. He looked a little different after 20 years. Much thinner than I remembered too. I told myself I was just seeing things. But perhaps it was him after all. So, what next? The big question now is what the rest of the curse bearers are up to. Luckily, the Sumida River is a good distance from any of the Seven Mysteries. It's unlikely that other curse bearers will come all the way here. I can finally have a moment to think. I see. Alright. I can suspend. No. Do I have to? You cannot currently progress any further. Once your situation has changed, select resume to try again. Pressing suspend will return you to the story chart. Oh. So if I did that, resume, start from the conversation on the bridge. I get the feeling I'm still in the same spot. I probably have to progress further. Yep, okay. Let's go! I guess I'll do Tetsuo's. Anyako Sakazaki. Spirit Board. Alright, Tetsuo. Crime scene investigation. Alright, Tetsuo, Oh. I could actually end it here, actually. Yeah, I could start the investigation, but now I'm thinking... I may actually, is there only 4 protagonists? I do wonder. Because it's been 3 hours, and my voice is a bit ragged. It's only downside with games with a lot of dialogue. It's hard to do. So yeah, I'm really liking this though. This game's really good. I'll do an actual save too. Very nice. But yeah, that's going to be the end of the session. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. And until next time, take care.